Okay, so this is the next video in our continuation of our AWS series. And in this video, still we are going through the EC2 service only, but within the EC2. So let's open the EC2 once. So we have explored a lot of options from here. So today we will explore the option load balancers and the target group. So basically the concept of the load balancing. So what is the load balancing, how it works, and we will say like in the practical. But before that, let's understand like a few terminology which is important. So first is the scalability and the availability. Generally, these two terms come into the exams, and the people generally get confused between the scalability and the availability. So scalability means if your application is running and suddenly there is a high load, so your application should be scalable so that it can handle the greater loads. So example, so let's suppose you have spin up the EC2 instance on the T2.micro, which means like one CPU, right? So basically scalability like further divides into two categories, like one is the vertical scaling and second is the horizontal scaling. So under the vertical scaling, so let's suppose you have spin up one any EC2 instance and with one CPU, that is the instance type as like T2.micro. So initially there was no issue, one or two users are using, there was no issue, but suddenly millions of users or thousands of users start uh, coming your websites, so the load get increased, right? So now one CPU is not enough. So scalability means our EC2 instance should be automatically scalable, which means it should increase from T2.micro to T2.large at the backend automatically. So this means the vertical scaling. So vertical means like basically like how I remember this term vertical scaling and the horizontal scaling. So horizontal means like when the line is like this. So under the summary you could see one line like so a road shape line, and the vertical scaling means a pillar shape line, right? So vertical scaling means we are not adding the external anything. We are just increasing the same memory or any instance type. Like we have early one CPU, then we put two CPU, then we put three CPU. Early we have 1 GB RAM, then we put 2 GB RAM, we have the 3 GB RAM. So like this. Now the horizontal scaling means like increase the number of instances. So horizontal means, so earlier we have one EC2. So now the load is coming. Now we are attached one EC2. Now one more. The load is still increasing. We have attached one more EC2. Then we are attaching another EC2. So this is the horizontal line, right? So horizontal lines means like it is a horizontal scaling. We are increasing the number of instances. But the vertical scaling is we have not increasing the number of instances. Instance will remain same, that is only one instance, but within that instance we have uh, increasing its features like maybe RAM or CPU. Okay. And second thing is availability. Availability means let's suppose you have your one website and your website is running on in any one availability zones. So if that particular availability zone get down, so user will not able to access your website. So generally it is recommended we should deploy our application in at least two availability zones. So so that availability will be, so in just in case in the disaster thing, if one zone is not available, then the user can access our websites or any our application from the other availability zones. So this is scalability and this is availability. And now the come to the next topic, that is the load balancer. So load balancer is is basically a server that will forward the internet traffic to the multiple EC2 instance. So what it means is, so we have one application, right, or any application or any website or anything. Earlier what we are doing is we are running our application on one EC2 instance, but this is not recommended because if the on one EC2 instance but in one zone. So this is not recommended because if the particular zone get down, then the user will not able to access our website. Okay, then it is recommended to deploy our application in two zones. Okay, then EC2 in zone 2. So now our same application, same website is running in the first zone as well and the second zone as well. But the IP, the EC2 which is running here in the zone 1 has different IP. The EC2 running here in this zone has different IP. So how the user know which IP address I have to access? So user don't know which IP address they have to access. User should know only single IP address. They don't care like at the back end their request is like going to zone 1 or zone 2. So that's why load balancer come into the picture. So we will put the load balancer here and user will hit our website. 1 minute. So what we are doing is we are putting the load balancer in front of the EC2 instance because our application is running in EC2 zone 1, EC2 zone 2, but it has different IP. It has different IP. So our application should have one IP. Our website has should only one IP address, but now it has two different IP address. How the user know like which IP address I have to access? So so for that what we will do is we are putting a load balancer. So load balancer is nothing, a basic kind of a server only. So what what it will do, it is at the back end, it is connected with this EC2 as well, it is connected with this EC2 as well. And now this server has also the one IP address. So now we will give the user this server IP address, not the EC2 one or EC2 two IP address. We are giving the user to this IP address, but our application is not running here. Our application is running on like on this EC2. Our application is not running on this server. So once the user will hit the particular DNS or IP, automatically whatever the EC2 instance attached with that, it will route the traffic to those EC2 instances. So let's suppose the user hit our website. So first it will go to this EC2 instance. In the second hit, it will go to this EC2 instance. In the third hit, it will go to the first one. In the fourth hit, it will go to the second one. So it is basically balancing the load. It doesn't mean like the user has doing the 1,000 hits and all the 1,000 hits are going to the zone 1. If all the 1,000 hits are going to the zone 1, then there will be problem for this EC2 because this maybe can't handle like much load and this is getting idle. So this is basically balancing the load. And we have so different type of load balancer. So one is the application load balancer. So this is the example of our application load balancer because our application is running on the EC2 instance. So, and when our application is running, so any application like facebook.com or google.com or any instagram.com, any application is running, how we are accessing that website, we are accessing that website either using the HTTP or either using the HTTPS, right? So that come under the application load balancer. And other are the network load balancer, gateway load balancer, and the classic load balancer. So classic load balancer will be going to decommission soon. So right now we have the 4, but this classic load balancer will be going to decommission soon. And then after that, we will only have 3 load balancers. So application load balancer, when we have the application running on the HTTP, then we will use the application load balancer. When we have to use the network load balancer, so let's put there are millions of billions of like transactions are coming. So there will be high load on the network. So and that time we will use a network load balancer, and the gateway load balancer is basically for the third party. And then for that we will use the gateway load balancer. This will going to decommission. So to to see in the practical, so what all thing we need. So first we need one EC2 instance. Okay, then we need the other EC2 instance, and both the EC2 instance should be in the different zone, right? Because if it is not in the different zone, then like it will not like going follow the availability rule. It should be like in the different zones. So we will spin up one EC2 instance in zone 1. We will spin up other EC2 instance in zone 2. We will deploy our application or simple .html page in this EC2 instance and the same .html page in this EC2 instance. Now we have the two applications, one application running on zone 1 as well and zone 2 as well. Then we will create a load balancer. All right. Then we will attach our load balancer with this EC2 group. And then we will once the load balancer will be created, it will give us their own IP, or you can say the DNS. Then we will hit our IP or DNS from the browser, and we will see whether it is hitting to this EC2 or this EC2, or it is hitting every time zone 1, or it is hitting every time zone 2, or it is alternatively. So we will see all this in practical. So let's go here. So right now we don't have any EC2 running. Both are the terminated state. So open the EC2, go to the instances. So launch the instance. And we will use the free tier only. So free tier, select. And we will use the free tier t2.micro. Select. And so first EC2 instance should be in the zone 1. So I am my region is London, and within the London region, so we have like EU West 2A, 2B, 2C. So three basically zone, because if you go scroll down, so EU West 2, London is EU West 2, and within the EU West 2 we have three availability zone, 2A, 2B, 2C. So first EC2 instance I will spin up in the 2A. So I have selected 2A. Okay, scroll down. And within the user data, so what I am telling you, so we will spin up the two EC2 instance, and we will deploy one simple .html website on this EC2 instance, and the same application on this EC2 instance. So we will deploy as part of the user data. So you have two options: either you can deploy as part of the user data, or either you can deploy manually. So we are deploying as part of the user data. So this is the script. So script should be always starting with the shebang character, that is the hash. So what we are doing is we are updating everything. -y is to so that it should not ask whether you want yes or no. It should not ask yes or no. Then we are installing the Apache server, because it is we are using the Amazon AMI, and Amazon AMI is based on the Red Hat. And in the Red Hat, Apache server comes with the name as HTTPD rather than the Apache. So we are installing the Apache server. We are starting the Apache server. We are enabling the Apache server, so that why we are enabling, so that whenever I reboot the instance, I don't need to start the server. Automatically Apache server will get started. Okay. Then I have to so once the Apache server will get installed, so automatically it will create a folder var and www and HTML. So after that, what we have to do, it will just create this folder var and www, and within the var www there is a HTML folder, and within that HTML folder I have to create one index.html file, and I will just mention hello from and the particular IP address, so that when I hit my load balancer, so I should know from which IP it is coming. So that's why on the page itself I am displaying the IP. And because we are root user have the access, but when we spin up the EC2 instance, it is automatically have the EC2 user. So EC2 user doesn't have the modify access. So what we are doing is we are just creating a one group, and we are attaching the particular group EC2 user to that group, and we are giving the access to the particular folder. Okay, so go to the storage and leave the storage. Now go to the tags. Now give the tags. So name, first server, or first EC2, or you can say first EC2, and give the owner as well. Security groups. So for the security group, because we have to access our website from the browser, so we need the HTTP, and HTTP from anywhere. And also let's configure the SSH as well, just in case if we want to run log it into our EC2 instance from our local computer. So we are also for the SSH we are saying anywhere. Okay, then go to the review and launch. So create a key pair. If you will not don't want to create, it's still okay, but it is recommended. So EC2 download key pair and then launch the instance. So let me remove the filter. So my first EC2 is going to spin up and now it is in the pending state. So meanwhile, let's create the second EC2. So we will use the same AMI and same instance type, that is, which is the free tier. And now with the subnet is 2B. Earlier we have spin up the EC2 in the 2A. Now we will spin up the EC2 in the 2B. And within the user data, we will deploy our same application. So the same application we are deploying. Okay. So go to the storage, go to the tags. Now give the tags name, second EC2, owner, configure security group. We will use the same security group because no need to create the different security group. The one which we have created during the EC2 first EC2 instance, because the same property we want, because it has the same website and still we want to access that website from the browser only. So we will use the same security group which has the same property like HTTP and the SSH from the anywhere, and review and launch. And we will use the same EC2 like key pair. There is no need to create the different. We are choosing the existing key pair. So launch instance. Okay, so now our two EC2 instances are ready. So first is running and second in the pending state. So let's see whether we are either we are able to see the our website or not. So I have copied the address and I have hit. Now I could see like my IP. So this is so let me show you. So this is the private internal IP 172.31.21.104. So I am able to see hello from this IP eu2.compute.internal. Okay. So our application is getting deployed. So now let's cross verify the second as well. Okay, it is saying connection refused. So maybe it will take a few seconds. It is initializing. Yeah. So now like our second is .58. So now you could see we have done this part. We have spin up the first EC2 instance. We have spin up the second EC2 instance. The first EC2 instance in the zone 1. So let me show you. It is in the EU2A and second in the EU2B. So it is both are the different zones, right? And on both of the application, our application is running. So let's suppose this is an application which display the IP address of the particular EC2 instance. So our application is running. But now we want the user should access this IP, our application. So it has different IP, like one is .2.15 and other is this IP. So which IP user will access? So we have to give only one IP. We can't give the two IPs, right? So now what we do. So this is done. So now go to the another thing is we have to create the load balancer. So scroll down, come to the load balancing, click on the load balancer, create the load balancer. Now you could see here we have the different type of load balancer. One is the application, network, gateway, and if you scroll down a little bit, you could see classic load balancer, and within the classic load balancer, it is mentioned AWS will be retiring the EC2 classic load balancer on 15th August 2022. So this is going to decommission soon. So now we have the main three type of load balancer. So which load balancer you have to use? Because you are accessing your application and you want to create the load balancer for your application, which is an application is based on HTTP and HTTPS. So you have to create the application load balancer, which is based on HTTP and HTTPS. So you could see the diagram as well. This is a load balancer based on HTTP and HTTPS. The user will come and it will automatically route the traffic to the different EC2 instance. So let's create. Okay, give the load balancer name. So my load balancer or application load balancer ALB. Okay, it is internet facing because it is a public only. It is not the private. It is internet facing. It is IPv4. Okay, now we have to map this load balancer to the network. So this is the default VPC. That is okay. Our application is in 2A, 2B. So we will select 2A, 2B. This is basically to deploy the load balancer in the two regions. To make sure it is availability. So if you see mapping, select at least one availability zone and one subnet for each zone. We recommend selecting at least two availability zones. The load balancer will route traffic onto the target in the selected availability zones that are not supported by the load balancer. VPC cannot be selected. Subnets can be added but not removed. Okay. Okay. Now we have the security groups. So user is accessing its website. So how the user will access, how we are accessing this website using the HTTP. So now we are not giving these EC2 IP address to users. So we are creating a load balancer and we will provide this IP address to the user. So user will access using HTTP or HTTPS the IP address for this load balancer. So we have to give the HTTP permission to this load balancer as well. Like we give the HTTP security group to our application. Similarly, we have to give the HTTP permission to this load balancer. So under the security group, we don't want the security group. We have to create our, so right now we have a default and we have a launch wizard one. So leave the launch wizard one because it has the SSH. We don't want to user log into our load balancer. So we have to create our new security group. And my application load balancer security group. And you can say security group for application load balancer. VPC is fine. Okay, now we have to set the inbound rule. So inbound rule means how the user will access. So user will access using the HTTP and using the port 80 and from anywhere. Okay. So if you want to give the tags, you can give. Otherwise, it's okay. Let's give the tag as well. And owner. Okay. And create security group. So now the security groups has been created. So if you go to the security groups, one is the default, which is like automatically, and this launch wizard one is the one through which our EC2 instances are getting connected, and this is one for our like application load balancer. The security group is created. Now if we go back to our load balancer page, and if you now refresh this, and within the drop down, now we can see three load balancer. Select the one which we have just created, my ALB, and delete the default one. Okay, so now the listening. So okay, so now our application load balancer, we attach the security group. So now user can easily connect with load balancer IP, but we have to tell load balancer connect to which EC2 instance, right? So we have to create a one group, and within that group we will put all our EC2 instances, and we will attach that group with our load balancer. So let me close this page. So here listening and the routing. So listen on the HTTP. So it is listening on HTTP. So here it is you can say HTTP on the port 80. right? But it will connect to like which EC2 instance. So we have to create the, right now we don't have any target group. So we have to create the target group, click on the create target group. So target group is for the instances because our target are EC2 instances. Our targets are not the Lambda function. Our targets are the EC2 instances. So instances, give the name my target group, and the target is HTTP because our application is running on HTTP and the port 80. So target is HTTP 80 and version is HTTP 1. Okay, health checks, leave the health checks and go to the next. Okay, now like which EC2 instance we want to connect. So we want to connect both our EC2 instance, EC2 like first and the second, and the port is 80. So if you scroll down, so right now we don't see here, just we could see this option, include as pending below. Click on this include as pending below. Now within the review targets, so both are attached. Now create the target group. So target group has been created, but with this target group, none of the load balancer has been attached. So you could see there is no load balancer attached. So we have just created a group. Group means we created one folder, and within that folder we play like we put these two files. So we have created a two, like you can say a one target group. Okay. So now if you refresh it, and now you have to attach our load balancer with this target group. Okay. And rest everything looks okay. So just cross verify the summary. Now our application name is this internal facing IPv4. We have attached this security group and we deploy in 2A, 2B, and this is the port and this is the target group. Okay. Create load balancer. So view load balancer. So now our load balancer is ready and it is in the provisioning state. So you have to wait. But if you go to the load target, right now we don't have the load balancer. If you refresh it, so now with our target group, load balancer has been attached because now we have created our load balancer. So you have to wait for to make it active. But if you scroll down within the description, you could see the DNS name. So DNS name is, so the IP of this particular load balancer. So now we have to access this DNS. We will give this DNS to the users. So if you hit right now, we are unable to reach because this is in the provisioning state. So load balancer is still like not active. So we will wait. So just wait for a couple of minutes. And okay, meanwhile, let me show you one thing. If you go to the target groups and click on the target groups, the target groups automatically like will like right now you could see health status is initial, right? So once the load balancer will be active, what the load balancer will do, this is the property of the load balancer. From time to time, it will send some request to both the EC2 instances to check the status, whether the EC2 instances are active or not, whether the EC2 instances are healthy or not, right? And they load balancer updated their properties internally. So right now like it's initial because our load balancer is still not active. So after that, you could see right now healthy 0, unhealthy 0, and there are two targets and both are like initializing state only. So once our load balancer is active, you could see the health status is healthy because load balancer will do the checks for the EC2 instance as well. So target registration is in progress. So now load balancer is registering their EC2 instances by doing some couple of health checks. So let's wait for the couple of minutes. It is in the still in the provisioning state. Now you can see like our load balancer is now active. Earlier it is in the provisioning state. So if you go to the targets, so you can see targets both are healthy. Both are healthy. Now what we will do, we will give rather than these two IP address to the user, we will give the DNS of our load balancer to the user. So we can copy the DNS from here, and what user will do, user will access our website. So user will do hit enter. So first it will do the enter. So automatically it will route to maybe some another zone. So let's see to which zone it route. So it is 104. So 104 is okay. So it routed to this. So now the another user came. So it will like again access our website. So once the another user came, now it is routing to the another IP address, another zone, basically 58. So 58 is this one, right? So now our like user is accessing our website from the another zone. So if again hit enter, now it is going to the 104. If I put again enter, now it is going to 58. If I again put enter, now it is going to 104. If I again put enter, now it is going to 58. So basically load balancer is sharing the load between sorry, between the EC2 instances, right? So this is the property of the load balancer. So let's do one thing. So we will go to the EC2 instance. So let's stop the one EC2 instance. Okay, and we are stopping our EC2 instance. So automatically target is we are stopping the EC2 instance, right? So we are stopping the EC2 instance. So load balancer will automatically do the health checks for the EC2 instance, and it will automatically go to know okay which EC2 instance is active and which EC2 instance is not active. So if you refresh it, so you could see one is unused, and why it is unused, because target is in the stopped state and one is in the healthy, because the 2A region, one is in the stopped state and 2B region in the healthy state. So now when the user will hit this DNS, every time the request will go to the second region 58. So every time it is going to the another region, because uh, uh, the other instance is inactive. So this is the a property of the load balancer. Now it is like highly available. Also the load is getting balanced. Okay, so let's spin up the first EC2 instance, start the instances. So automatically, as soon as we are starting the instances, we could see right now it is unused, because earlier we have stopped it. As soon as it become right now it is in pending state. So let me make it big. So once it is getting up and running, so now it is running. So if you go here and you will refresh it, so it is still in initial state, because it is checking the targets. So and after that it will uh, make it like a healthy state. So if we refresh right now, like every transition is reaching only one zone 58, because till like other EC2 instance is active. Uh, okay, now it is routing to the another zone 104. So now both our targets are healthy status. So load balancer also do the continuously health checks as well. So if you do the health checks, so you could see when they it will do 5 consecutive health checks. So if all the 5 are, it will get success response, then it will say it is healthy. If it is 2 consecutive get the failure, then it will say it is unhealthy. So it means it also do the health checks as well. Okay, so that's the end of the video. So we have covered the load balancer topic and target group as well, and we could see the application load balancer. So now we will clean up our services so that we should not get charged. So both are running. So let's stop the EC2 instances. We will stop our EC2 instances, and we will go to the load balancer. We will delete our load balancer, and the target group as well. We have to delete the target group, but before deleting the target group, we have to delete the EC2 instances. So one is stopped, so let's terminate it. and let's terminate the second one. And other things as well, like we have created the security groups. So go to the security groups. So we will delete the security group as well. And this one as well. So one instance is still like not get terminated, so we have to wait, and we will like delete the key pairs. And let's again cross check our EC2 instances. So it is still shutting down, so it is not like terminated in the terminated state. And if we try to delete our target groups, yeah, so now deleted. So we go to the security group. Okay, I think that it is still running. Yeah, it is still shutting down. Okay, so like we will like terminate it, and make sure like you will stop all the instances and clean up everything, and make sure you use the free tier only, so that you should not have to pay. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you.